Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NECC, and we've got a very special broadcast, especially this season, now taking place here on Saturdays, covering some of the CELOL action. Tonight, we've got a great set of teams before you. Waldorf University versus the University of Ottawa being our first breakaway game. I, of course, am your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, for the day, as well alongside me being Orbital, my lovely color.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm excited. I get to flex some of the knowledge that I got from RMC. Those in the casting scene definitely know who he is, and I'm going to flub so bad. It's going to be great, but I'm extremely excited.
Well, we'll see how well you can do here, and hopefully it matches the pace and efforts of these two teams, because I think I'm already going to start describing a little bit of what narrative we're looking at for this one. It's a bit of a David v. Goliath setup here. Waldorf, they are an extreme roster, some titans. We had the lovely opportunity of covering them last split here on NECC. You've got Tracio, Joe Cool, Waza, Ammonarch, and R. Walton here as your five-man roster.
Yeah, and this is a squad that, performed fairly well, and looking at them now, they're back and ready to go with a couple juniors on the side as well, with a senior on top and then a freshman. Tracio, of course, coming in here and being kind of that possibly new star. As you said, last semester, one semester under the belt.
Very strong.
They should be able to bring an even more eccentric style, and I can't wait to see what they have for us here in the Season 12 startup.
On the other end of the action here, we do have the Ottawa University squad here. Ebor, Gumby Power, Ani Akuma, Peak Performance, as lovely as it's spelled, and Sprinkler here. They were in our Champions Yellow division, actually in the top 3 overall for a majority of the season. So definitely a competitive team, albeit in a lower division.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, right? Like, this is a squad that is going to bring with it its own telltale style, the unique individuals, and I'm very, very excited to see what they have. Again, week ones always bring with it its own slew of challenges, right? If you did bring on a fresh face or anything like that, it sways a little bit. At the same time, these are players that have played across both semesters, so they should have that resilience. It's really just the Season 12 possibly throwing some wrenches in the plan.
Now, I'm curious if this draft is in complete and certain position here, especially for what is, my apologies, Waldorf. Looks like we'll jump back into that real quickly here, but some big things to look at most notably here is we do see some shifts in terms of who is playing where. The big things to take note about, especially if you're looking at last split, is our Walton and Waza were actually typically considered the substitutes. Now, I personally don't have the information regarding whether or not they're actually, some mainstays here for this roster, but last time around, they were not in that position. And you saw people like Tracio actually in the jungle, and it looks like he has shifted down, taking the position of straight shifty away, and will be playing in that support role with now our Walton and Mr. Waza in that mid and jungle, respectively.
And that's going to be a good time, right? Seeing some fresh faces coming across and trying to swap up the roles a bit. It brings with it its own kind of fresh take on how the players like to play that role. You know, we could see specific champions kind of being drafted into roles, and especially with the different compilations and different variety sets that we have with the Season 12, having those roster swaps may or may not yield surprising results for them.
I will say, our Walton Waza, we did get the opportunity to see them, though, at least, so we know they actually do have some power behind their punch. Either way, draft fairly underway. We have already gotten the opportunity to see the first 6 bans here. Already, it looks like we are getting a bit of that kind of top jungle draft out here, especially with the Gwen and Warwick picked up, which is a little surprising for me. Typically, I like to save some of those picks, but if they're confident to run with it, then hey, have that here.
Yeah, and I am curious if that was actually picked up for our Walton. There was a 3 jungle ban actually thrown at Walton, so there's a possibility that just grabbing a jungler early on is what they want. At the same time, we have seen Warwick pops. It's very annoying to play against, and it's a cheesy pick. I'll give it, especially with the Gwen in there. I'm not sure you're gonna have a great time, but with those 2 being locked in, and now the Pantheon adjusted in possibly to lock down the Jinx, it looks like Waldorf University are kind of going for just a pure suppression composition.
Right. It looks like there is, just to follow up, just an early source of damage here that we could be potentially see coming out of Waldorf University. We are seeing the main setup that we do usually find in that mid lane being the Corki, another strong pick in response that typically is, the victor to potentially come out here. But there's plenty of other major team fighters in the mid, or if you want to go down the more AP assassin route, that are available here. One thing we didn't touch on, of course, is the Jinx being picked up here, or the opposing side on Ottawa. A great ADC scaler, fantastic in the current meta right now, and will provide, especially as the game heads into that kind of mid-late section.
These are drastically pushing towards there, but I do like it locks in, right? The Corki is well known as the go-to, even though with the nerfs that came out in 12.3, it's still well utilized. So to actually bring out the Yone against it shows that, and I'm assuming Oni Akuma is going to take that into the mid lane, that you're looking to kind of adjust against that, right? Get the Yone ahead, and the Corki can't do much even with the package. If Corki gets ahead, the Yone is really not even going to get close enough. So the adjustment has been made. These are highly aggressive lane states now for the side of University of Ottawa, and I'm assuming it's going to continue on even with the support and jungle pickups.
I think that might be our marquee matchup to watch throughout the majority of this game here. Waza, definitely being someone with a whole hefty amount of mid lane experience on his belt, is no small slouch here. And Ottawa will be throwing just as many, if not more, punches back their way here. And like you said, I think either of these picks will fall off quite hard if they don't find success. Now, granted, we've seen varying degrees of success. The big thing to always keep your eye on will be that accumulation of gold and what items they consistently pick up here. Crazy, very hot take, I know, but just because someone dies a lot doesn't mean they'll be out of it. Either way, jungle, that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to what bans here. There isn't much left over, but the fact that they are banning the Jarvan and Nunu makes me believe that we might be seeing the Pantheon find its way into Tracio, which I would not be surprised, has the ability to flex down there and play into the support role sometimes around. So still looking for those bans against Walton.
Yeah. And with the pick of Karma coming up, that does leave that jungle completely open, and I like this, right? This is University of Ottawa actually giving a lot of respect over to our Walton. They want to make sure that that jungle matchup is to their own priority. They are hardcore making that happen with the Recon locked in. Now we're looking for that ADC, right? That's the really interesting point. What are you going to go with the ADC? I don't think it's going to be a Corki on the bot side.
No.
Your best option would still probably be, I would almost say a Sivir or Ashe wouldn't be bad because the Caitlyn just doesn't synergize as much, right? And
Jhin.
Yep, Jhin is the solid one. This is going to be coming in here with the long range, still be able to lock down, give an option to engage from far away.
So now, if we're setting this one up here, the tools are in the wheelhouse for Waldorf across the entire early aspect of the game here. Now, there's a lot And I mean, a lot of survivability and peel here for the Ottawa roster that they will have to deal into, but good timing, a nice pace of play. You have the set available to take those early kills and then balloon leads, whether it be on that Jhin, on that Corki, on that Pantheon and Warwick, who are so notable in the early to mid. If Waldorf are unable to do so, I'm sorry. You have such an absurd scaling presence here on the opposite end.
Yeah, this is so
That's tough.
yeah, so the reason that we're getting kind of up and ends on this is because University of Ottawa, there's situations where we say there's a composition at the end of the tunnel, right? It synergizes well. They do everything right, and mid to late game they're gonna roll over. This is guerrilla warfare at its like most base form, right? The Quinn final lock-in means that the Gwen is most likely going into the jungle. That is a Quinn top to go against what looks to be a Pantheon. And or wait, no, is that actually Karma top? If that's Karma top, that's even worse. This is just really bad bullying, and either one would be a difficult matchup for Pantheon. This is win lane, win game by the side of University of Ottawa. That if they do get rolling, we could see this game end before 22 to 25 minutes. The Quinn support, I think, is going to be the most interesting factor. The blind is very nice. The knockback is there, but it's such a weird utility-based setup with almost a pure influence on the aggression, right? There is a reason that Quinn support is not normal, per se. So bring it out here. It'll be very, very fun to watch, and it will bring a lot of highlight plays, whether it's a highlight or in a fail montage, one or the other.
I was about to say, you don't usually see it, but when someone does pull it out, it's probably because they're looking to make a statement. I think it has a realm of advantage when we talk about the setup here. Granted, I think Rakan is so good in terms of keeping that AD carry alive and providing the peel necessary in the bottom lane. I don't think it will be that direct advantage there, but we'll look for those rotations alongside the Quinn and see where she may impact once, they do actually make their way up towards the mid or top lane where you could actually see something find a return there.
Yeah, and that also lends itself into season 12.3, right? The roaming supports that we've been seeing over and over again.
Everywhere.
It's way more common now for ADCs to actually be left on their own. And Jinx is one of those. If you get a kill with Jinx, 9 times out of 10, your support will be gone. And you're just like, all right, well, you're safe enough now that you can probably hold the lane on your own, soak up the farm, let the other lanes also get that influence of the support, right? Let that support start getting the ball rolling elsewhere. Because mid game's going to roll around and the Jinx is going to be fine. What you want to see is top lane influence now. That Karma versus Pantheon, even though we say it can be danced on pretty heavily, the Karma can outpoke and everything, the Pantheon still has a decent all-in advantage. And if you bring that Warwick up there as well, a little extra suppression, Karma's not going to be able to do damage to both of them. That's the thing. So you do want that roaming Quinn to try to influence as quickly as possible. And again, that's saying that the Karma can't hold their own in a 1v1. There are areas where I would like to see the Quinn roam, and if so, that could be devastating throughout the rest of the game.
Well, it looks like Waldorf has a little bit of a ticking time bomb on their hands. We'll see if they're able to defuse the situation as this first game persists forward. As for us on Desk, though, we are going to go through a short break as we make our way through the spectator delay. Stick around and stay tuned for the start of the action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're moments away here from making our way on to the Rift for the first game between these two teams. And take a look at it. Waldorf University versus University of Ottawa. Garnet here in our first week of CLOL. Once again, I'm your play-by-play caster Zephyr, alongside me being the color, as not always, but I would hope so, Mr. Orbital himself.
We would hope so, of course, but this is... Oh my gosh. Oh, Embor. Oh, Embor.
Oh, God. Caught out already. Going to be forced to flash. That root doesn't quite get what it needs off. You do have the rest of... I believe, confirm this. Yeah. At the top of the screen here, just to let everyone know, there is a bit of a flip. Waldorf is on blue side. I had to take a double look there, but yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yes, Waldorf University Esports is running Aminarch in the top lane, R. Walton in the jungle, and Waza in the mid, and
there we go.
Cool and all that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I had the same thing. That's actually why I cut myself off early. I was like,
yeah, no worries.
I swear we had it right.
I'll say the bottom is still. We'll figure the bottom as well. We'll get there. Either way, Waldorf are able to defend that one, albeit, or my apologies, Ottawa, God, is able to defend that one, albeit losing the flash here onto Ember. So nothing is truly picked up, but it does give them the ability now to revisit, especially with Walton. You talked about it, this bringing that Warwick up there, maybe even a rotation alongside it from once we do get rotating supports to maybe look for some of those first kills that are necessary.
Yeah, and that top lane, it's something that good teams are able to do is make use of summoner spells, right? Summoner spells down sometimes just notify a lane that they can go in, but really understanding what you can abuse and work with is very, very important. How our Walton is currently clearing does give me a lot of hope, saying, hey, we might be able to pressure in, we might be able to fight Embor, and that's something that they'll have to do. But bot lane, we actually get a kill. That's a double kill.
Woo! Double kill already here. We talked about the presence of damage, the potential here that could come out of a Jinx and Quinn combo in Ottawa. Make short work of Waldorf there. They did not respect that potential as a result. Kind of caught themselves with their pants down. As a result, now you've got a 2-0 Jinx. You do not want to put a Fed Jinx ahead in any way. Now Waza might be at the opposite end here, able to find a bit of damage. It will be secured through the end of that Ignite. Ani Akuma is able to find his way out turret and actually looks for that re-engage and blows the flash out of Walton here.
That's very surprising. Oni Akuma on this Yone. We always talk about it, and they understand that that Yone can be so strong. Top lane, though, getting a little bit of a visit.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't even have to say it. It's already another kill here.
Yeah. This is starting to roll out. As we said, right, laning phase for University of Ottawa. They're a team that is absolutely going to play it strong. Second revisit mid.
Able to find the kill before he makes his way back to Fountain here. So technically evens this one out. It's a return for Waldorf finally into the hands of Walton here on this Warwick. But already it is a 5v1, a 2K deficit in the first 4 minutes of game. That is a thing.
That's a very painful scenario to be in, and with a squad that we specifically said needs to get those kills, it yields results for University of Ottawa, right? They are a team, and especially from their draft, they said the strongest person that we have to watch out for is our Walton. So, pinch his pool, make sure he has to play a champion that maybe he doesn't excel on as easily, or a champion that can influence the lanes as easily, right? And then just go straight for kills. This means that they, on this red side, are allowed to hard aggress wherever they want. They can dive as deep as they want and continue this all-out aggression on the champion. So really, really well planned and well executed from University of Ottawa so far in this game.
Now, Ottawa, this is, or like you said, exactly what they need to continue enacting that kind of run-down plan that they have for themselves here. Waldorf still has some potential to find their way back into it. It's not completely out of their hands here. The problem is when you make a run into either Peak Performance or Ani Akuma now, they have a wealth of damage that they can revert back to. So if your engage isn't absolutely perfect here, in the face of whatever you plan, they will quickly continue to rack up those kills and assume even further gold lead, which just the kills, they'll continue to do so on top of this Drake as well here.
And this is going to be Tracio actually going in, and that's not a move you want to go for if you're a support. That's going to be the death, and an ult over the wall. Oni Akuma even charging in.
Someone explain to me. Well, I'll hold the thought for a second. But no, okay, no kills come through. He goes in with the grand entrance over the wall when the blast cone is, in fact, available. As a result, can't make his way out. It's a very big micro misplay there that was quickly capitalized upon for Tracio, and continues to award the Ottawa squad, the one being there, a successful kill for Gumby. Now, though, Ember, gotta respect the Pantheon, albeit the game not in the best of positions. He still provides a lot of that early damage. Now a full 3-man here into the mid, found with a grand entrance, a knock, a big fear onto Ani Akuma, running for the river here. He will find the knock-up available to get back on top of R. Walton and actually secure the kill. Tracio taken to half health. A double knock-up to pick up 2. Straight onto Waza. He goes. Ani Akuma for 3! Oh my god!
Oh. Oni Akuma just slap it away. Now the top lane is also possibly going to fall. A couple more auto attacks should do it.
Just one more. Just one more.
Just a Q, and that's going to be 4 total for nothing. This is University of Ottawa running away with it. And Oni Akuma, right, having a heads-up play to play with those cooldown timers is what secured that kill. Again, really, really nice job ensuring that the shields always came up, always having that ability to regen, and providing now a 5-1-0 score.
Ooh, peak performance, way too aggressive. Caught under turret here. They get that information from Sprinkler, but that's far too late. As a result, that's a big shutdown found there. One of the first for Joe Cool here on this Jhin. So some source of gold back, albeit though in the face of 2 extra kills and almost a 23 CS lead here for peak performance. So still not quite even enough.
It's crazy to think that the kill count currently for the side of University of Ottawa is it's about 2 kills almost for every 10 CS that's been picked up by each member. I don't know why I wanted to bring up that statistic, but normally the CS is a lot higher before there are 12 kills on the board, right? We are only 8 minutes into this game, and we already have 10 for University of Ottawa, which means a majority share of their gold is not from CS, right? Normally, you would get a lot of your gold from that CS department, farming up properly, right? That's how you get your items. No, I'm pretty sure most of them had just, like, farm champions, and they're just like, yeah, that's a great way to get it.
Ooh. And now, Ottawa, they've made their attempt to regroup here. They are at a numbers disadvantage as they look for this engage onto Amnarch. We'll find a little bit of some defense here, but the root still finds its way forward there. Good fear from R. Walton will pressure them back, but still they make their way under turret there. They won't go for the full assumption as it is a Warwick, and you never know what could potentially capitalize on there. But still, Tracio is made his way up there, and they know that now with him being spot out. So Joe Cool, he's got nowhere to go. Forced to flash.
Out they go from their own jungle as well, and this is University of Ottawa rightly pushing their advantages, right? We said they're on a timer. They have to complete this game early if they want to win, and at this point they can, right? Already pushing down into the jungle, making sure our Walton, the last member that they have not been able to fully lock down, is starting to lose ground, right? So, very well played. Now, should get this Rift Herald as well, provide a tower, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see University of Ottawa actually collect over 10 plates total. That'll be 2 total towers, but that'll be really interesting if they can get all that.
Surprisingly there, we cut away from it, but it was because of the flash that peak performance finds his way out of that bot lane skirmish there. On the other side of the map, it was the rotation finally up from Sprinkler, though, that awards them an additional kill here onto Amnarch. Oh my god, Ottawa continues to find success here across the Rift. The only critique I have for them is a little bit of the overstaying in some of their plays, but they're strong enough to get away with it a majority of the time.
And this is going to continue over and over again, right? This is a trend that's not going to stop at all. This is going to be, I'm pretty sure, Peak Performance now going back already has the Gale Force. This is the most over-aggressive item that you could possibly have. Because it's an execution item, right? Peak Performance is not doing this because you have to get away from someone, really. It's, well, they're going to try and run away or flash away. I need the Gale Force extra damage to execute my opponents. This is not normal, by the way. Peak Performance being allowed to straight up 1v1 against MNARC. A Pantheon is usually able to kill an ADC fairly easily. The fact that they feel comfortable enough to do this just shows their current presence. Now we are going to see a fight, though, in the jungle.
Ooh. Sprinkler there. I know you're the support and you've been playing well, but you can't really take it mono against those two. Great double knockup with the grand entrance from Tracio, Gumby, and Embor looking to continue the chase. And Waza is so quickly eliminated. Mind you, on the other side of the map there towards the bot, Joe Cool does fall at the hands here of Ani Akuma. Back in the fight was once again our Walton Deep, but obliterated by the AP burst here as the Rift Herald crashed. And now Akuma from behind with his fate sealed to pick up the last member there being Tracio.
Akuma is having a blast right now.
Peak,
7-1
peak!
Top lane Peak Performance is also killing it. Almost dies the tower. No. It's the Akuma show, though. Akuma has gotten at least 2 or 3 kills off map or off screen while the fights have been going on. That's how often this has occurred. Keep in mind, this is just over, I want to say, 15 CS per kill, right? To put it in perspective, that's 2 waves. That's almost like... It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what's going on right now. Oni Akuma absolutely on a rampage. Rest of the team also getting up there. 700 bounty, 600 on Gumby, and 150 on Embor. This team is rocketing and realizing that they want to get a 2-0 as quickly as possible.
Oh, jeez. And now, you talked about 10 plates. They're sitting on 12 already, 12 minutes in here. A 12-on-12 double number there. And now they will throw once again Peak Performance in towards that top side to see if they can continue to accumulate the insane gold lead that is on their belt at 11,000 here at 12 minutes. I don't know the exact number, Orbital, but I was informed one time around that there is an official statistic where if you do manage to create a lead of a certain amount by, what early minute that is, the game is is no longer within your wheelhouse. You cannot save it.
No.
It's a bit of a shame, but it is just, dude, it's math. Bigger number means you're screwed.
It is, and I would actually say that the number that you're looking at is correct. It's about 10K, 10 to 12K. And the reason for this, 10 to 12K, depending on who it's spread about, no matter what, pretty much ensures that you are well over an item above your opponent, right? At that point, statistically, there's no way to get into the game, right? There is no way unless the opponent gives it over.
Massive mistake.
Yeah, and so this is one of those.
Oh,
and
no, it's not!
Peak Performance playing on Peak Performance.
Oh my god! No grand entrance, no route, 2 major uses of the CC windows completely failed there for Waldorf, and now Gumby here in the mid continues to push down this wave. Walton will find his way in, but will almost be obliterated. Gumby dashes out, continues the fight as it's the massive Mego in from the side here on this Jinx to keep the fight alive. Mind you, it's not a 4v5. It's more like a 3v5, even with that Jinx ultimate. And holy Ottawa!
Oh my God. They aren't stopping, by the way. They are wholeheartedly pushing.
Why should they?
Lanes. Yeah, they don't have a reason to. I want to take a look at the gold that they currently are sitting on. I'm pretty sure all of them are sitting well into about 2K apiece. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 or 3.5. Okay, so I was overestimating. They have bought recently. Still, though, everyone sitting on at least 1K to go back and buy means that they are exceptionally above their opponents, and rightly so, right? Push the game. Finish it off, give no opportunity for your opponents to get back into this Peak Performance, of course. Just, cooling the wolves a bit.
Jeez! More kills there Mr. Gumby picking that one up in the jungle to just continue to accumulate the heads here that is Waldorf University. Dock them on the wall. Consider it a nice adornment here for this college, as now they're all almost every major carry is almost 4,000 gold ahead compared to their counterpart. That being not even a difference for Ember and Sprinkler. They themselves 2K ahead in their own right with a massive ballooned gold lead to almost 18,000.
And you'll see this in the items as well. We can get swapped back over to the items, and we can see what they have picked up here. While this dragon is being taken, this is going to be our one going in for it. Unfortunately, a little bit too early, but you can see it there, right? This is them fully filling out. We can see Gumby actually currently sitting on the Magi Soul Stealer at 0 deaths. That's only the right item that you can go for. Oni Akuma, though, wants a little piece of Joe.
Akuma in there with one quick kill to pick this one up, continue the onslaught on some of these waves here. The rest of the squad will group as 4 here into the mid with those supers crashing in. This could potentially be game. I mean, there's, at this point, nothing that Waldorf can do. They're even going to throw down the Rift Herald. That is how early this game is right now. Will Shelly even get the crash off? It's nowhere close to play as both fall here. He'll take his way onto the mid as now a double root is found. Joe Cool out here. They are able to kill Sprinkler, but the rest of their carries arrive in due time to eliminate everyone off the board here for almost a full team wipeout. University of Ottawa, an immaculate, almost perfect, but surely dominant game 1.
4 kills. 4 kills is all that separated University of Ottawa from getting a perfect game. That is how slim it was. They took everything else. They took every dragon. They took every Rift Herald. They took every tower on the board. They left nothing to chance and clean swept it. Before 18 minutes, by the way. That was, I believe it ended at about 17.
That's the fastest game I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it sounds bad, but that's just their strength, right? Phenomenal play from them from start to finish. And it's something to be said that they only allowed 4, right? There usually are more mess ups, you know? Usually it's like, oh, someone got way caught out of position because they're overextending or something. No, they made sure to finish it off in proper standing and close it out. They said, listen, we could mess around more. We could go for the Coliseum, you know, send in one at a time, see if each person can take it. No. You will take it as a game that we need to win, and they did.
And you know what? I can't even give a massive word of advice here to Waldorf other than it goes back to fundamentals, man.
Yep.
You got to stunt the bleeding, prevent what is all that early gold that was basically thrown away in that game 1. If you can't do that, then we'll be seeing a quick 2-0 here. Even then, though, that's still potentially 1 game away. We here on Desk will be going towards a short break. And when we come back in a few minutes, we'll be bringing you the draft here for what could be, like I said, that final game of the day here. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NECC. We're still bringing you that week 1 action of CLOL here between two lovely, great teams, Waldorf University and the University of Ottawa. Of course, I'm still your play-by-play caster, Zephyr. Alongside me to my left here is, of course, Orbital as my color. And it was a game 1.
That's really what we could say, right?
If
you're looking at it, if you're looking at it as best you could, that's exactly what happened, right? From level 1 and level 2, it felt dominant from start to finish, and that comes down into the fundamentals, like you said, Zephyr. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, right? The fundamentals coming out of the University of Ottawa is just too strong, and unless Waldorf is able to come up with something, a different type of cheese strategy, it's still going to be that David versus possibly 3 or 4 Goliaths here.
Well, it's a stacked deck here for the side of Waldorf, but in situations like this, I would look for maybe a composition that would persist or survive. I think something like the early game composition doesn't do you as well. Granted, if that's what they're used to playing, then I really can't say anything. But if you do have the capability to look for something mid to late with scaling potential, maybe that's the route you can go. But here's the thing. Ottawa showed me that even when Waldorf, aren't making mistakes, they're still looking for a ton of proactive plays around the map to secure themselves their lead. So just surviving. I don't care what comp you draft out. All Waldorf has to show me in the game 2 here is, can you survive?
Yeah. And it can be achieved, by the way. There is a possibility.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not crazy.
It's not. And the way to do that, and it's going to sound somewhat backwards, but if you play League of Legends, you understand the lesser of two evils mentality, right? And the way to do that is to understand you cannot challenge for everything. And I think that's what Waldorf kind of have to abide by. You can't challenge for all the CS or any of the initial trades, right? Even if your opponent pokes you out, play it safe, mitigate your losses, right? If you lose CS, that's okay. Can you stay healthy enough to soak up the XP, right? Same with towers, same with all this. You have to keep that in mind if you want to continue forward in this match. Start with that. It's going to be a bitter pill to swallow, but I think that's something that they can start with.
So, Embor, once again, we do see that Gwen first picked out here. It's going to be more than likely into the hands of Gumby, but still a potential flex that is available. Waldorf are drafting still for that early, that Xin Xiao, one of the more crucial heavenly picks that we've seen consistently in that kind of 3 champion trifecta in the jungle currently, as well as the Ezreal. I do like that for Joe Cool. I don't think it has a lot of agency against something like the Jinx, which is more than likely picked out here, but survivability will be crucial.
Yeah, and I do like it. I really like the Ezreal pickup. I think the Ezreal is still... I think people are maintaining that it's A+ to S- tier. I don't know if it's still all the way up there, but the Aphelios is going to bring with it a lot of firepower to answer, so we're getting there. This is still going to be the all-out aggression. Oh!
All right.
Okay.
This is, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like there's a length of just playing with your food to a certain degree, and I'm not gonna... I'll let it slide for now here, but Ottawa's got to show up. All right, that's what I'll say to that. Ottawa's got to show up. If they're gonna be running the double 80 carry, I know Zeri's strong. I know Zeri's really strong, but still, this can blow up in your face if you're not careful.
Yes, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I'm fairly certain Zeri ADC is great. Zeri ADC is great. Top lane is also very good. At the beginning, when Zeri first came out, I believe mid Zeri had quite literally the worst win rate in the game. It was very entertaining to watch. But I think at this point it's good now, right? Like that's the thing, is because Zeri synergizes so well with the automation, it can be done as people have started to get a better grasp of how she's played. So I don't think it's as bad anymore, but it's interesting to see a double AD composition kind of set up here for the side of University of Ottawa. I think they can easily pull it off. Don't get me wrong, but it's still very fun to watch and very entertaining.
Whew. Well, I don't usually, when I look at these drafts, chop out my analysis to entertainment value, but hey, that's what we're potentially doing here right now, and it will be at its best. I guess I'll give heavy analysis towards Waldorf, and then for University of Ottawa, we'll base them on a 0 to 10 scale of entertainment. Either way, Vigar. I haven't discussed it particularly, so I don't. Oh, come on, don't. Jeez. Oh my god.
Yes! Yes!
Ottawa!
So,
can they get banned for just like straight up the most toxic draft in the world?
No, because this is an actual draft. So, this is going to be Zeri top lane, which works well into tanks. It's going to be nice. Gwen jungle, which we already saw work. Zed mid, which wins against Vigar.
Hard.
And then Aphelios ADC. And then LeBlanc support does pretty much the same thing that the Quinn did, but a little bit better with the damage output. This is still a very viable composition. Yes, it's early game. It is correct. It is toxic because all you're going to do is just aggress over and over again. Or is this going to be Zed jungle? Because I know people have been tweaking with this as well. I keep forgetting if it's actually... I don't know where it currently stands, but they did buff the clear for Zed. So that could be it. Either way, it is still very valid. And you were talking about Vigar. It's been played mid quite often now. It's a great champion to pick up. But if it's countered, it's very, very painful. It's very, very harsh into the composition that's been brought out here. I love it. I love this entire thing that's going on.
I don't know if love is the word here. We didn't talk about, but Garen and Maokai were the last two picks to kind of round out the composition here for Waldorf. And I can see the front line, to a degree that is being, of course, provided. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you're not finding what makes you that behemoth, that meat, that wall here for a composition, you are a glorified, I will say melee minion at this point. Not even canon.
Yeah, that's really all it is. And theoretically, it would work, right? The frontline Maokai is also a champion that's been picked up I think recently with Fimbulwinter. It's been fairly interesting because that was the whole issue with Maokai is there wasn't enough mana to sustain the pull. So Fimbulwinter being added has allowed for some other options to come out. At a support role, though, it's way more difficult to get the gold, to get the stacking. It's not going to have as much influence, especially with the aggression. That tree is going to get chopped down very, very quickly. And then, of course, the Garen in the top side, you can aggress all you want, but you are against a Gwen. Gwen generally counters a lot of these kind of want to stick to you champions. It's not going to be a fun time. I love the idea, though. Again, for Waldorf, at this point, you realize kind of the behemoth that you're up against. So just try stuff. Try and get familiar with certain compositions and get any sort of practice, any sort of improvement that you can out of this game.
Well, like Orbital said, it's potentially a learning experience, something to work with for the future here, but technically a loss isn't written in the books just yet. So, Ottawa putting their ego on the line here as we make our way into the second, and like I said many times over, what could potentially be the last game of the day here. So stick around and stay tuned as we make our way through a short spectator lay onto the Rift. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NECC. We're about to get into Game 2 here of Waldorf University versus the University of Ottawa. Garnet here into our second of this best of 3. And I'll tell you what, if you missed that first game, it was an absolute stomp, a wash, a complete landslide here from the Ottawa roster.
It was it was brutal, to say the least. And I think we touched on every single point. It was a 17-minute game. I was off by a minute. I understand. I'm very, very sorry, University of Ottawa, for calling it 1 minute longer than it was. It was a 17-minute victory. And in League of Legends, you are not technically allowed to surrender until 15 minutes into the game. And that is a full surrender. So very quick completion time by University of Ottawa Garnet. And they're hoping for a faster one here as well, right? Full early game composition, the LeBlanc support, the Zeri in the mid lane, Gumby on the Zed, and then in the top lane, the Gwen for Embor. This is a composition that is going to look to do the exact same thing as game number 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not exact. I would say, I think it's, this composition's very aggressive, and right off the bat, even a move like this, Gumby on the Zed, straight for the red buff, takes that one away. Walton's going for the slow full clear. By the time he makes it to that red, he will already be at such a major disadvantage moving forward in terms of the jungle. And while you can work with some lower levels here on the Xin, it's just little things like that that continue to build up and play against Waldorf.
Yeah. And not just that, it's also been a lane swap, by the way. Embor is now in the mid lane with the Gwen, and then in the top lane, Oni Akuma is going the Zeri. And this is what I was talking about, right? Yes, mid lane Zeri is a thing, but top lane is actually where it was. It's the same bully tactics that you see with the likes of those.
Oh, no.
Oh, bot lane.
Level 2 advantage. Root found Severum. Ignite there. Flash forward with the Calibrum. Peak performance. A first kill of the game. Jeez.
Perfect. Just
perfect.
That's all you could ask for, right? And that was actually about the best that you could do from Tracio, right? That was also Tracio just hardcore going for that safety, flashes early, the right call. But it was the perfect combination from peak performance. Used everything in the belt, used everything that was to their advantage. Pull out the first kill once again.
Jeez. He continues to aggress upon Joe Cool here. Tracio does return, and they are looking fairly low. I would love our Walton to just find maybe some place back here, but even still, Joe Cool once again taking chunks of damage as a massive wave crashes here.
Uh-oh.
One quick shadow, and Gumby can find a pickup. Sprinkle walks in there. Root under turret. Sprinkler will go down, but it is at the guarantee of a kill here onto Gumby Power. Gravitum, Root, peak performance is risking it with the Infernum. Doesn't quite find the kill there and will have to walk away. But it just goes to show where the mentality of this team is at right now.
Yeah, it's aggression, and they know that they can win it right now. Tracio sticking around a little bit too long. Gumby could actually go for the dive, but it's just to clear the wave and push out. They are willing to push the tempo as early as possible, and they're not worried about the trades either, right? Even with that trade of a kill, they're still up 900 gold here. University of Ottawa know that they can play this high aggressive tempo. They haven't had to worry at all. Oni Akuma now, though, getting jumped on the top lane.
Flashes into the wall, gets dash over, will be more than safe there, but it is a great summoner blown. In fairness, a little slow from Walton. Would love to see a more impact from the Zen, capitalize on some of those early moments that can be really, really good for what that jungle pick brings to the table, especially if you know champions like Zed here, Gumby Power, are going to be taking their time and just bullying out something like the spot lane or mid.
And Sprinkler holding on to this mid lane, sitting on a deactivated ward, which is going to help a lot. Waza is not going to enjoy this.
Waza here, going to flash immediately. Of course, they're in the face of that one after taking damage. I was more than sure he was going to find his way out. It's just a bit of a shame to know that the summoner is a guarantee. Is now, of course, Sprinkler will make his way back down bot to continue what I can only surely hope is not an onslaught.
I think it is either way. Unfortunately, Tracio right now trying to set up those saplings. They're nice to have, but again, it's so difficult to actually utilize it, and there's no way to really go in either, right? Peak Performance has the proper guns up, great AoE damage is gonna rock that one, and it's just a slow burn, but I think it's correct, right? Tracio and Joe Cool, they are not trying to opt for those fights. Any of the kills so far have been on the opposite side and under tower, so now we get to see this bot lane gank.
Little late on the ward there, and as a result, this is what I was looking for. Walton in. Perfect timing there. A second too late, and Peak Performance would have had the information available to walk out clean. Gumby, though, in the jungle looking for Waza. Doesn't quite hit the Shuriken, and the cage will come down, preventing any further aggression. It's a good look for Waldorf. Definitely a lot better than game one.
Yeah. Early kills coming down here. One on our Walton and then another on Tracio. It still evens out, right? Now you're only about 600 gold behind. You had given a little bit extra back to your team. Joe Cool was able to pick up an assist there, so little things so far, right? Take your time, slowly build up your lead. University of Ottawa, though, they are going to take this dragon fairly handily. I don't think Joe Cool and Tracio can really do anything.
Remember, Zed, not one of the best jungle takers, and as a result, will be killed there. They aren't able to get the full steal off, as you do have Sprinkler secure that one, but now the pinch ensues. Exhaust down and Peak Performance, but Embor shredding with the scissors, baby. Joe Cool eliminated in less than a second. That is just unfair, in my opinion.
Yeah. The Seamstress should not be able to kill this easily. Waza, unfortunately, is about to eat a lot more, too.
Oh, jeez. I mean, you don't even have to toss that one to me. He was gone before I even had the chance to breathe, Orbital.
Yeah, that was and this is kind of the matchup. So, Vigar coming back makes me so happy. I'm a Vigar main. I love the champion. It was the first main that I ever picked up. The champion has obvious flaws, right? Very weak, very slow base movement, and it's very easily exploitable by champions that are willing to go in and don't have to take the poke oppression, right? It's a champion that has to farm up. That's all you can really do. So for Embor to take a champion that not only nullifies long-range damage, but is also able to trade extremely heavily if given the opportunity to stack up those Qs, it just brings such a difficult moment for Waza, and it's the learning experience again, right? Just try and farm up. How do you stay away? How do you stay alive? How do you stay in proper distance to make sure you can stack up that evil?
Now, a huge gold advantage is secured for Ember, of all people, here on the Ottawa roster. We don't typically give as much attention as I personally think we should here towards that top lane. And remember, this is a switch up. Last time around, it was our friend Gumby on the Gwen, and this time it is Embor with a rotation into the mid lane, finding success. Big root in there, will push Sprinkler back. True Shot Barrage, a big whiff as the Moonlight Vigil finds a massive source of damage as the Gumboni Zamboni finds his way towards this bot to pick up Joe Cool.
Yep. Just cleaning out that bot lane, making sure that Joe Cool will not have a good time, and honestly, it's the right place to pinch. Now, Tracio is also going to get the same treatment.
Under turret they go. Sprinkler is juggling a majority of the damage. And jeez! Gumby! I blinked and I would have missed it!
Pain, that's all you can see. This is deforestation at its best right now. Gumby just cutting down all the trees in the forest. Bot lane, though, I like the call that Gumby has started applying pressure down here, or has been for a majority of the time. It's the easiest lane for him to gank, right? Top lane, it's Aminarch, right? It's a Garen. You're not going to be able to get too much with that Zed. Waza, of course, with this Vigar is going to have a good time. And Joe Cool just ran smack face first into death. Gumby made the right call. Camping this bot lane will yield the best results.
Oh, that is... And it's due to the fact that they're making some slight mistakes. Okay. Joe Cool there finds his way out once again. 0-4 now. Huge leads now for Gumby on this Zed, like you said, from a consistency regarding those return ganks. An absolutely fantastic performance on the Zed, which I know you talked about it being kind of an odd pickup for the jungle. Is maybe we got to hold the thought. Our Walton, minder, he still has that Rift Herald play, but will be rooted. No, it's a big flash utilized. Gonna be straight towards Embor as he will be stunned out by a great knock into the cage. Tracio with the double root with a bit of the ultimate coming out there. Gonna be immune in the face of that true shot barrage, but I don't think they had kill pressure otherwise.
Honestly, I'll give credit to Waldorf right there. I honestly thought Walton was gonna die, and it probably should have been. But the stun, the cage to come up with the Event Horizon, and then the Crescent Guard knockback. I'm not sure if that was the intended response. Very, very well done to keep the jungler alive. Joe Cool is now gonna eat a bunch of damage with the Moonlight Vigil, and
he was exhausted. He was exhausted.
You don't care.
He did that damage while he was exhausted. Does it matter? Not quite. You know what else doesn't matter? The life of Amninarch here. He's only got seconds to go, because as this wave crashes in, Sprinkler, Gumby, they're waiting, vultures in the sky to pick apart the dead here. Wave crashes, utilize W early, ult from Akuma, and Gumby! Instant removal, slice and dice, baby! Now, Ember up, a Rift Herald dead. Ottawa continue to wipe the competition.
It's never stopping. It's never going to end here. University of Ottawa continuing to pressure forward. They're going to get so many plates. Bot lane is already down to 1 plate. Mid lane down to 3. Top lane down to 2. Which means there has been a total removal, I believe, of, well, that's going to be the 10th plate of the game already at 12 minutes.
Waza here, you've got to be careful. Gumby looking to chase. Will be caged out, but that doesn't stop his head. This is why he's such a good counter. In with the death mark. Flash over the wall. The damage won't be enough there, but peak performance will say otherwise. Severum. Unable. Joe Cool, though, with the true shot barrage. The snipe. Embor coming through on the backside will secure the kill into Waz's. All Walton is caught, like I said earlier, with his pants down. Meanwhile, it's a Cloud Drake here.
Cloud Drake into Infernal, and this is just going to be very, very difficult to get around here. University of Ottawa granted all portions and all components to have another game and to have a phenomenal time. Of course, the stall out here, Waldorf, being able to pick up a few of those kills, and because of that fact, it has granted a little bit of a boon for our Walton here, being allowed to pick up his Mythic, at least, and that'll sustain him through. It's helping out a little bit, right? I don't think this is going to be as fast as a game as before. Still going to be just as devastating, though, as we see the tree cut down once again.
Kuma quickly picking up a nice rotation in, though, from Sprinkler to set up the majority of that fight. We talk a lot about what can come out of specifically Sprinkler and his rotations, not only here on the LeBlanc, but what we saw last game as well on that Quinn. Granted, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if this game is going to be the make or break tutorial for teams when looking at, University of Ottawa. Either way, 3 top here, looking to contest. Ani Akuma going to have to kite this out. Is knocked up, flashes back, but still, Joe Cool with the snipe. Now Amninarch deep for the double. This Ezreal picking it up where the rest of Waldorf cannot. Now 3 up on the board. Some of the best performance we've seen out of anybody here from Waldorf today.
Yeah, that was our Walton kicking it off, and Amninarch actually picking up a little extra behind it. Very, very well played, right? In a situation where it felt like you're facing up against one of the more broken champions out here, you're able to pick up 2. Now Gumby does want a little piece of the action.
He's going to go for the full clear, make sure that he just can't crash this wave. I don't know if he's actually going to follow up. Tracio and Amninarch are fairly healthy. I wonder if he has the damage to sustain, being that is complete center, but not quite, on the full armor pen just yet. Maybe a few moments away. Even still, Amninarch, Tracio looking for a response. Will find the root onto Gummy, throw him back there. Death mark in. Silence is found. Flash, shadow, out. Tracio low. A knock up, and even then, Gumby, the burn takes care of business. Ani Kuma, Sprinkler, they finally arrive and will make that a 2-for-1 here as they also take the tier.
Yep. And that's going to put it at 2 towers to 0. Very, very well played on their side. And it's going to continue. Our Walton, though, has been a bit more aggressive, allowed to kind of pick this up, and that's going to be the turn into as peak performance gets flashed on.
It's a nice flash, but remember, our Walton doesn't really have any more follow-up. He's already used all of it, and Sprinkler, gotta be a little bit more respectful there. That is a full 3-man. Not quite as fed last time around, so make a run for the river. As also Tracio within the area. Watch Johnny Akuma. He secures a lot of great vision towards that top side. I wonder how long it will last. And surprisingly, no one's able to actually kind of capitalize on such a deep positioning from them. Actually, as I say that, it's our Walton from behind. Ultimate down there on Akuma looking for the wall for escape, but Tracio pushes him back. Akuma in for the Rift Herald pit, but Waza's on the other side to find a last of his own.
Oh, they worked so hard for that kill, and Waza came in, just picked up the paycheck and said thank you. That's so rude. Waza can't do that.
You know what they can do, though? He finds his way back to Fountain, apparently, as Gumby picks up another one fairly quick. I mean, we talked about it the minute the game started. It is a hard counter to Vigard.
Yes.
Vigard gets absolutely cracked whenever that Zed shows up. And as a result, it is going to balance out here as Onikuma is back up now. Aminarch in a silence on top of Sprinkler. He was actually doing quite a bit of damage between the two of them. Peak performance, though, playing on this backline might be enough as they take out the clone there. Crescent guard, and even then a root as deep goes Gumby. Walton looking low. Sprinkler with the dash to pick it up. Aminarch next. Ooh, Tracio looking to escape here. Will be able to walk out, but Embor is sitting on the red buff. He is pinched with nowhere to go there. Stun. Peak stepping up. It only takes one auto to get the Gravitum off, but Embor chases otherwise here. A cage will defend the tree from his paper crafting to be had.
We're trying to come out with every single analogy that we could, and I think we're doing a good job of it.
Being creative at this point.
It's there. It's there because, again, even though I will applaud Waldorf, they have doubled their kill count from game 1. They have also extended the game past 17 minutes. It's still looking a bit dire. They've also kept the gold lead, actually within 9K, which is, again, improvements, little steps, right? How do you gain anything from game 1? Well, this is how you learn that. After you set the time aside, you can start playing up to that tempo, right? They weathered through the early game about as best as they could. There were some early dives that they capitalized on as well, and now they can go aggressive, right? Our Walton, surprisingly, is feeling more aggressive, has been going a little bit harder into those ganks than before, and that has to be given some positive note.
Ani Akuma down with the ult. Aminarch now looking for an escape here. We'll see if he can do it, but Akuma takes the 1v1. Akuma, baby! Now in the bot lane, a jungle fight to ensue. The tree removed. Embor in, is immune, walks through the cage onto Waza there. Pressed up against the wall. He will survive as nope. Peak performance from behind. Severum in there. Joe cool to look for it. Moonlight Vigil doesn't quite land, and he will be removed, but it's at the cost of the rest of the team here. Joe, Waza, now our Walton is the Gumboni Zamboni comes into play.
The entire jungle fight is all it took for University of Ottawa to just say, all right, we're done messing around. Now we're going to fight it out as we assume. Moving under the tower to go. Tracio now going to get obliterated where they Sam flash in. And a nice collapse. Aminarch might be able to clean up here, even though he did lose a couple towers and a lot of damage. Aminarch, Tamashi Injustice is there. Doesn't have enough range, though, to get in. Oh, well, come on. Ult it, ult it, ult it. Oh. Ignite. Got the ignite. All right. 500 extra gold. You'll take it.
I was about to say, if he walks away from that one still alive, that's got to feel real bitter. Aminarch, at least, though, finds a bit of the burn. Now, though, University of Ottawa, the big success for them, they do break apart every single tier 2 on the map, which is, whew. I mean, it's the jungle's already been in control here for Otto for the extent of this game, but at this point, they have a free boon to walk basically anywhere that isn't, of course, the the inside of Waldorf's space, which is it's just tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's dangerous. It's all this stuff. Just understand that. That's all it is.
It's rough.
It's tumbling. I don't know.
Is there any other words that rhyme with tough?
Yeah. I'm searching my dictionary. I don't think I got it. Embor. It's definitely not tough to cut down our Walton though.
No.
Easily done. Currently 8-1-1, flying high with those kills, and with it also being sole point. University of Ottawa are actually taking this one a little bit slower than I thought. This is also a reason for it. Akuma's actually been picked on quite a bit here.
Jeez. I will tell you, at this point, personally, if I was, Ottawa, I would say, let's try to end the game. I think it's a bit of a nothing. Ooh, Sprinkler there, looking like he might be in a bit of a scruff. Look at the buff, though, from Akuma with that ultimate, playing off the cuff here, straight onto Tracio, looking for the chase. One last auto will do it. It's the burn. Even still, Aminarch with his own ult return to pick it up. Meanwhile, Embor alone here on the inhib to pick up his own successes as peak performance and Gumby clean up house. Oh, Joe Cool, watch out for the Zamboni. It's on the ice! Gumboni in deep here to pick up a quick one-off.
I would also like to point out on the other side, Sprinkler died to Baron, not to Waza. Baron... Sprinkler walked by Baron Pit as University of Ottawa were trying to complete it, and Baron literally just turned and spit on Sprinkler. That's what happened. So very entertaining death there. However, the rest of the members are absolutely cleaning house. Like you said, the Gamboni is crushing it here, 8-3-8. Peak performance is playing above peak performance here and just washing over opponents this game. Yes, about 5 minutes longer than its predecessor, but still fairly in control in University of Ottawa's side.
Now full 4 members there. You might not have Ani Akuma, but he will be there eventually to enact vengeance. I like the split, though. Embor putting pressure down the mid as 3 is more than enough to keep Waldorf in places. Embor's looking for that next wave of crash. This split could be potentially the end of the game because they're as strong as they get when they're a full 5-man roster, and the more that they are spread apart, that'll be it. And Waza, oh my gosh, that's why the blue wards exist. My friends, you walk out, you don't have to put them there directly. Quickly obliterate they from Sprinkler. Mind you, that is the support of the team. The support.
The support at this point, right? Like, this is... Sprinkler might as well just be the mid laner, right? 4-4 and 16.
More gold than the mid lane, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was mean. Only by 40 gold. Only by 40
It's still an amount. That shouldn't happen ever. Oh, jeez. Embor now on the 1v1. Aminarch, though, way too tanky. All right. Maybe a little bit too much pride there. Sprinkler will continue to do the same. These are some big mistakes here for the University of Ottawa roster. Maybe one more to follow. Picking it up here. Gumboni and peak performance. We'll see if they can make it up as no peak will fall, but the Gumboni, Zamboni still finds 2 of his own.
It's weird to see 4 members dead of University of Ottawa, but they all happen in drastically different areas, so I find that very, very entertaining. Of course, Aminarch does feel like he is stronger, and honestly, at this point, he is. 2.5 items. He is getting fairly tanky. The one member that can actually shred through these squishies very, very quickly, and considering the ultimate does more damage based on missing health, this is the best game for execution-style movements, so... definitely Embor was not expecting Aminarch to be able to come out with that sort of firepower, and you can see the itemization now immediately into Azanya's just like, nah, I'm not dealing with that again.
Well, even though they kill 4 members, Gumby is way too strong. You cannot even walk into clear, find a return on this red side jungle. And guess what? The minute that Ottawa's back up, ready to play, straight on to Baron. Already half health. They're going to get that information for themselves as now the rest of the full 5-man does arrive here. But does it even matter? The Baron is secured. Ani Akuma, I love that, is in, but will Bull the Flash, not realizing that there is an entire roster ahead of him. Gumby in peak performance, sliding up at the back, and they got to be careful here, but that's the big damage. Akuma with a double ultimate, M-board deep. He is immune there, but the root still lands, and as a result, will be picked off. It is a 1-for-1 as now Gumboni is in on Walton, back on the shadow. Akuma from behind, Waza next, Amnanarch over the wall. It's a full team ace here for the University of Ottawa.
Oh, this is why Akuma is correct at the moment. 6, 4, and 7, yeah, but it's just the champion, right? Zeri just gets broken, hopping over walls, doing everything that a Talon would, but a little bit better. It's ridiculous. This is now game over.
Game over. University of Ottawa, 2 incredibly impressive games, one after another. Some would say they were playing with their food. But Orbital, I'll tell you what, I personally think that they are just chefs on the Rift.
Cooking up a solid game, making it look easy as well, right? These are champions that are also well known for being mechanically difficult, right? Zeri is not an easy champion to master. LeBlanc as well requires combinations. It is going to be one of those situations where you're looking at it, they made it look easy, but still, some of the movements that they were doing were obviously at a high level, and that's something that you want to see. You want to see them continue this level of consistent play throughout the regular season. I can't wait to see him again. On the other side, Waldorf, of course, looked a little bit better, right? When given mistakes, and whenever there are overextensions, this is what we were kind of talking about. It was definitely ego play a little bit from one side. To capitalize on the egotistical mistakes, though, is very difficult to do at times as well. When you're behind, to realize that you still have damage in the kit, right, on the top side, the Garen, realizing that you can get kills and still willing to take fights, I think shows great I want to say like resistance, resolution, whatever. The mindset was very strong to at least still take the fight and give it one last hurrah. So huge props to Waldorf for still sticking out even at the end of the game.
And even if this isn't their best game, I'd love to see how they match up against potentially a team that is a little bit more, on their elo, that can bring them a more competitive experience that they could potentially learn from. But hey, they're not quite the victors. We'll talk about University of Ottawa here going forward. A fantastic game for themselves. Definitely a statement if we're talking about CLOL as a whole. But most importantly, like I said earlier, potentially not really revealing anything regarding their successes, because this composition, especially coming out of game 2, it's just, like you said, ego. I mean, you just run that one. Someone's going to be sitting, watching the reels, and going to say, pull up that 2-0 that we just saw them beat here against Waldorf. Let's see what we can learn. And they're going to go, all right, turn it off.
That's all you got. It's just like, they're good.
They're good.
Great. All right, next one. Shove it off into the records vault.
All right. Well, is there any last thoughts for us here on the desk, Mr. Orbital?
No, not really, of course. I do like to say, as everything starts, it is week 1, right? Always time to improve, always time to see differences. As much as we had fun watching this game, there is always a chance that we could see teams expand upon their successes or defeats here. So watching both these teams here, I would love to watch them later on as well. Maybe in that week 6 or 7 to see if there's been progression.
Fantastic. Well said yourself. I want to make a give a big thank you out to what goes on behind the scenes here before we work our way off. PETA and Narwhal doing a great job to bring you the action on a more discreet computer technical level as our producer and observer for the night. So big props to them, as well as you guys at home being big supporters. Trust me, we do see chat. I think I've seen enough of it at this point for this game, especially a lot of copy and pasting going on. But hey, if you guys are having fun, then I am as well. I, of course, have been your play-by-play caster, Zephyr. Alongside me to my left here, Orbital as my color. We hope you all stay safe and have a good day.